Do you like roller coasters? Do you perhaps like Cedar Point? Do you want a good intro to this video? Well, while you might not get the last one, I will give you my review of Cedar Point. So let's not waste any time and drop into this video and corkscrew this horrible intro into. So first, I just want to say my opinion might be slightly biased since I live an hour and a half away from the park and I can just go there any weekend I want. But I feel like because of that, I'm even more it's even more of a reason for me to be able to make this video because I've been there so many times. But really, you can't start talking about Cedar Point without talking about the causeway is the best part of driving up to the park. While the Cedar Point themed buildings that you see while driving up to the causeway are pretty cool, they're not as good as the actual causeway. Because on the causeway, you can see Cedar Point's entire collection of roller coasters, just like laid out in front of you, like a giant plate of like metal spaghetti. That actually sounds really gross. I'm not saying that. Okay, fine. But all in all, the causeway is just an appetizer of the main course that consists of. I'm going to do this section of the video by rating each of the roller coasters at Cedar Point and then giving some information on why I either like or dislike them. So starting off, my least favorite roller coaster in Cedar Point is Steel Vengeance. Just kidding, it's the Mine Ride. Well, my actual bottom three are Pipe Scream, which isn't even really a coaster, and Woodstock Express and Wilderness Run, which are both kiddie coasters and therefore suck. So my least favorite actual coaster is Cedar Creek Mine Ride. I mainly rate this one last because it's very bumpy, doesn't really do that much. Like, it doesn't even have that defined of a hill. It's kind of just like levels off. I mean, like, I guess if I had to rate it something, probably like a 2 out of 10. My number 14 roller coaster, though, is Iron Dragon. While it's a pretty good starter coaster, it doesn't offer much past the fact that the cart is hanging from the track. The bucket design on it's pretty cool, though. I wish they should add more rides that have that kind of bucket hanging from the track thing. I would rate Iron Dragon a 6.5 out of 10. My number 13 coaster is Wild Mouse. While it is a pretty different concept compared to other coasters at Cedar Point with the spinning cart, I don't think it's meant to be anything more than a family coaster that makes you slightly nauseous. I would rate Wild Mouse a 6.7 out of 10. My number 12 coaster, however, is a coaster that many think is the worst at the park, and that is Corkscrew. I was considering rating this ride lower, but it still teaches you what going upside down on a roller coaster feels like, and also was the first one that I went on that went upside down. I would probably rate Corkscrew a 7 out of 10. It is really rough and absolutely destroys any cartilage left in your ears that hasn't been destroyed by my number 11 coaster, Blue Streak. Blue Streak is probably one of the roughest rides I've ever been on, but only if you're riding in the back row. Any other row and you feel completely fine while riding just a normal 80-foot wooden coaster. I rate Blue Streak a 7.5 out of 10. Now I'm starting off my top 10 coasters with Gemini, which should probably be replaced with the new roller coaster any year now, because it is 47 years old and is pretty rough. It is a pretty good ride that goes 120 feet tall and has some decent airtime, but it's still really nothing much compared to some of the other rides. I rate Gemini an 8 out of 10. Now, going from a very uninteresting coaster to probably the most, unique one at the park, and that's Raptor. I'm rating Raptor at 9 simply because it's pretty good and would be a standout roller coaster at a lot of other parks. Without these good roller coasters here, it just doesn't compare to them. I rate Raptor an 8.3 out of 10. I'm gonna find people with pitchforks at my house if I put Maverick at 8, but this is where I legitimately think it should go. Maverick is a very good ride that I would probably rate top 5 in ride experience-wise. Wait, no, in the actual ride. However, I do think the line for a ride should be accounted for, and this line is consistently 2 hours long, and I've even seen it be 3 hours long. I do still have to rate it somewhat higher, else I will get mugged, so I rate Maverick an 8.5 out of 10. I'm rating Magnum at number 7 because it's usually a really good ride. There are some times where it can just absolutely destroy you, but it's like a 50-50 pretty much, so I would just beware of that before getting on. I would probably rate it a 9 out of 10, though. Okay, now hear me out. I personally think Rougarou is better than Maverick because of the fact that the line is the exact opposite of Maverick. Rougarou's line is always under 15 minutes, and sometimes it's even a walk-on. I personally think that Rougarou is the most underrated ride in the park, and I honestly just think that the people that rate Rougarou in the bottom 5 just haven't gone on it. So I think it's a very well-rounded and very good ride. I'm going to rate a 9.3 out of 10. I was originally going to make this video and put Gatekeeper at 8, but I rode it about 5 times last time I went, and it was a lot better than I remembered. That first drop on the ride was really good, and I just really enjoyed the ride, so I rate it a 9.5 out of 10. Millennium Force is my number 4 coaster because it's really tall, and it's also really fast. I almost peed myself getting on it. Now I'm starting to do rides with shorter lines that are very good at, with Valraven at the 3. Valraven is usually 45 minutes, and it's just such a good ride. It starts by dangling you 226 feet above the ground and then drops you. After that, you go through some very intense half inversions that send you flying out of your seat. It's a very good coaster that has a decently short line almost all the time. Also, quick note, this is around the spot most people would put Top Thrill 2, but I haven't ridden that one yet and don't plan on riding it, so that's why it's not on this list. I rate Valraven a 9.7 out of 10. Now, my number 2 roller coaster is the newest roller coaster at the park, Siren's Curse. Now, I know what I said about the wait times and all, but I really enjoyed it when I rode Siren's Curse. It was a very cool experience looking straight down from 160 feet in the air, and also going underground was a really cool feeling. I do hope the line becomes shorter soon, though. I rate Siren's Curse a 9.8 out of 10. Now it's time for Steel Vengeance, baby, the best coaster in the world. I do legitimately think Steel Vengeance is the best roller coaster ever made. Now, I haven't gone to any despite other than Cedar Point, but I still think it's the best. It's just a combination of the Wild West theming with it having the most intimidating hill on any coaster and also just having the airtime, bro. 30 seconds? How is that not considered a felony against every other theme park to try to create this level of ride? With how good this ride is, I rate Steel Vengeance an 11 out of 10. That's definitely how the math works. Okay, this last part of the video is my completely serious guide on how to approach the park. So you're starting off when you get to the park, you ride one of the coasters by the front, like Blue Streak, Raptor, Gatekeeper, or Valraven, just to calm your nerves, and then pick one of them based on how many roller coasters you've rode before. Next, you head to the middle of the park and ride Rougarou 2 or 3 times in a row. Trust me, it'll take half an hour. Then you go a bit past Rougarou and hop on Millennium Force, whose line should range from an hour to an hour and a half, usually. Then go to the middle of the park and ride Magnum. Trust me, it'll be fun half of the time, so ride it twice to get both ways, I guess. I don't really know. Then go to the back of the park and ride Maverick, or Steel Vengeance, or whatever your heart desires. Then, on your way back up, hit whatever you want and probably get dinner and lunch at some point. Then, when it's darker, go on Valraven. Trust me, it is amazing at night. The ride has lights going up the hill, and it has a spotlight shining up at you from the bottom of the hill. It's just really cool experience that I totally recommend. Yeah, so that's all I have to say about Cedar Point right now, but I'm going soon, so I might have more to say after that.